I've done tornado recovery in the past. So are we ready to count down or are we on?
We're live.
Woo! That was excellent. That was great.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
It's just another Wednesday. Just another Wednesday when you're in the podcast business and also working with animals and working in a nonprofit and especially working with racehorses.
And you're always late. Because animals don't tell time.
And you never know what they're going to do.
Well, you know, and the funny thing about time is we want to say there's only 24 hours in the day, except for twice a year. With daylight savings time, there's 23 hours or there's an extra hour. So either way, there's always something, and there's not always 24 hours in the day. So to the people that just joined us, I'm not sure exactly when you joined in. This is Tina Norris. She is the founder of Unbridled Spirits Thoroughbred Retirement Ranch, which should be on the screen behind me.
I wasn't thinking very clearly when I created the name. I was looking at something that was universal. So originally I thought of Unbridled Spirits Acreages USA, something that was global. However, because an acreage is small, it didn't attract to the appeal of how many horses could be retired. And then Thoroughbred wasn't in it. So I came up with Unbridled Spirits Thoroughbred Retirement Ranch Incorporated, and it is the longest title in the history of any business.
See, UTRRS. I was going to say the UT kind of right off the
USTRR.
US.
There we go.
Yes, you're right. USTRR. You're right. Get it in the right
I don't want to talk
order.
about UT.
I know, that's why. I was thinking it was like you were here before you were here, because Bret and I were having a conversation that we have to make sure that when we read out Coffee Coochies conversation that we're not out writing Coffee Coochies conservation. Not that I'm against Coochie conservation. It's important to take care of it, yes. So, speaking of things you have to take care of, and yes, these horses are athletes.
Yes.
They really are, and so I mentioned to someone out there on Friday at your grand opening, they don't have a voice.
Correct.
And you all have become that. So let's meet Angie. You're one of the board members.
Well, actually, yes. I'm. Not only is Tina our founder, but she's also our executive director. I am right along beside her as the executive chief operations officer.
Thank you.
Then, from the executive level, below, if you will, us is our operational board of directors. And that's where we have our president, vice president, secretary, treasurer.
And then members to the board.
And we have advisors to the board, which
Awesome.
are quite extensive. Our members who are advisors range anywhere from former attorneys, real estate people,
Racing commission handicappers across the United States.
Yes.
That's
and
awesome.
It is. It's a great group of people who share the same passion that Tina has and I have with giving these retired athletes a safe landing.
And that safe landing is so important. I don't care what kind of athlete or person or even four-legged you are, that safe landing.
Exactly. Many times, they come to us already broken. So our job is we rehabilitate, we help them to not only physically rehabilitate, but even more so, many times, emotionally rehabilitate.
Well, they're bred to run.
Absolutely.
They're bred to be an athlete.
Absolutely.
And so what is the typical lifespan of one of these athletes?
Right. So a thoroughbred, a typical lifespan for an average horse, let's say a quarter horse, is generally you can see them at 30 to sometimes 33 or 35 years. However, these thoroughbreds, much like humans, have endured many issues on the track, which range from arthritis or SI joint issues or kissing spine. And therefore, their life can sometimes be cut short because of the medical issues that stem from their life on the track or even in their second competitive career. So 25, I would say 20 to 25 is their average, what we've experienced.
It definitely, and that of course comes from a horse that receives excellent care. You know, if they don't receive that care, that also decreases their lifespan. Probably the horses that are the most at risk would be our former brood mares who age out of production.
Yes.
By the time they're 15 to 17, they're done. And yet they still have the potential of having 10 more years of their life. They haven't been under the saddle while they've been busy out in the pastures having babies. So they can be a little more tricky and more difficult to place in a situation where if a rescue group comes in and they're into rehoming, which is something we currently at this time don't do. We are a sanctuary.
Okay, but you're not into the rehoming.
Correct.
Retirement Ranch Sanctuary. So Friday at your grand opening, ribbon cutting ceremony at the second location, Mucho Chrome. Got to meet Mucho Chrome.
Yes, such a star.
I am
He's
so
amazing.
awesome.
I am awesome.
I am awesome.
I am awesome.
See, I was saying I'm so awesome because, well,
Because
you know.
you are.
Well, you know.
Well, you know, and Tina was accused of thinking so much of
Yeah,
herself.
on our Facebook page, I had put down, I am awesome.
You get it.
Yes.
You can understand why the horse is
Yes.
so proud of himself. And the third animal out there was
That was Native Ruler that we had out there. He was Iowa's three-time stallion.
Yeah, champion
Yeah,
stallion
yes.
3 times in Iowa, and then he also earned $1 million on the track. He's foaled in Kentucky and had a stellar racing and breeding career. So he was actually pensioned from his breeding career into Unbridled. It was a big feather in our cap to receive him.
and his name again?
Native Ruler.
And where in Iowa did he come from?
Abraham's Equine Clinic.
All right. So you brought out 3 different horses that came to you 3 different ways.
Correct.
So that's one. Now,
Correct.
where did I Am Awesome come from?
I Am Awesome was claimed off the track, which is a claiming race means if you would like to claim a horse that is currently racing at the track, and before the race goes, it's $3,500, let's say, for that claim. You put your $3,500 down and you receive your claim ticket. No matter what position that horse finishes,
Okay.
that horse becomes yours the minute it finishes the race.
Okay.
So he was in a claiming race at 11 years old for $3,500, and we found a trainer in Arizona to claim him off the track, put our money down, received the ticket, and he won. So he won his 114th race at 11 years old against all of the young bucks out there in Arizona. And it was just one of those surreal moments for us. We were all watching on the TVG screen as he was racing. And it truly was a race where he was in last place. And we thought, oh my gosh, let's just see if he finishes the race. Let's hope he finishes the race. And then he started coming up into the ranks, and he was middle of the pack. And then,
Right?
right? And then he crossed the finish line, and there were like probably 50 of us watching it across the United States, and we just couldn't believe it. It was just a surreal moment to know that we saved him, because that trainer would have consistently raced him until he may have been 14 years old, or until he broke down, or until something tragic may have happened to him.
Especially when he's winning.
Exactly.
You of course, they're going to, it's not broken.
Correct.
So-
And 11 years old is a very old age for a racehorse to be running. A lot of people think that retirement means the horse is older, but actually retirement means they're retiring from their sport. So much like a football player, let's say that football player retires at the age of 30 years old. 40 is actually old. An Olympic athlete does not compete in the Olympics at the age of 40 years old. So these horses come in at 3, 4, 5, and 6 years old. They're retiring from the sport and not retiring because of their age. Now, the brood mares, as Angie had mentioned previously, those generally are a little bit elder in their years, 18, 19, 20, because they're out of production of being able to foal. So they may be a little bit older, but truly, unless it's a kill pen horse, we generally do not have horses that come in their 20s. They're 5, 6, and 7, and they are feisty.
And I got to experience some of that myself firsthand. I do hang out with horses during the day, every day pretty much, and these are a whole different breed. They really are. Each breed has its own characteristics, but this was my first time personal up close with a horse like this, where there wasn't a pen or anything in between.
Right, I remember.
And especially when it's the first time out of the barn and the grass is green, and look, that patch over there is so much greener than the patch I'm currently eating on. And you know,
They get ideas.
yes. And you see, I have a mini horse, so I'm used to, shithead horses, but not so strong.
Yes.
And it's that strength of that horse that to me was the size was one thing. I was like, they are big.
Well, you're consider the fact that you have a horse that's going to weigh anywhere from 1,100 to 1,500 pounds, and they operate with a brain that is the size of a walnut. I'm not kidding.
I know, which is why I chuckle.
Yes.
But their heart is so
It's
big. And that's what compensates for that little. But if you remember, they're so simple. Yeah, I keep Cheerios in my pocket. I'm so popular with all of the creatures.
Emote, actually. Emote.
And they're tall and they're so majestic and they try to please. And there's a different level of equestrian sport versus the rodeo quarter horse.
Yeah.
I truly believe that they know they're special because of the training and the skill sets they possess.
And they're bred to be bold, and they're bred to be competitive and gamey. I mean, that's what they're about. So with a thoroughbred, respect is both ways.
Patience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, with any of them, it has to be that mutual respect. And I actually had my kids up in Barrington, Illinois, at the hospital up there, which is where Arlington Raceway, the owner, Duchess's house was, his farm. And I would drive by it. And those horses live better than a lot of people.
Yes, they did.
I would shack up in a stall in his barn any day. I really would. I'm not saying with one of the horses there, Bret. I'm just saying it's really nice. And colonial, and a beautiful land. And you guys have that going too, moving to the second location
Yes.
in Geneseo.
Well, and it's interesting that you stated that because when you go from track to track and experience the different conditions of the barns, Arlington was first class. And they had, in front of their stables,
They had actual guards that were guarding those horses before they came out onto the paddock. And when you go from Arlington into, let's say, a turf paradise or even a Prairie Meadows, the conditions are drastically different. So the money level, based on the betting and the handicappers and the simulcasts and the level of thoroughbreds that are racing, G1 stakes versus just your average everyday race, really you could see the downfall of the racing industry. You could see how far the racing industry has gone from the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts, and a sport where it was truly a privilege to be attending a track, to where now it is sitting in the United States, where it's literally a dying sport.
And now we're getting to the crux of the real problem and why you guys are stepping in. So how did that happen that you ended up spending time, energy, all the heart and soul into this?
personal money
Sacrifices, compromising living conditions.
Sleepless nights.
So what's your motivation? What's each of you? Sorry.
Yes.
Well, ultimately, our goal is to protect the welfare of America's thoroughbreds and to keep them on American soil.
See, I didn't even think about that aspect of it.
Yes.
So what happens if someone like you doesn't step in? I don't necessarily
let's
want to
just
go there. But
briefly talk about, for many years, centuries, once an animal was finished with its life, they would be sent to a rendering plant. In the United States, we have now closed those. Horses are not slaughtered in the United States. However, that does not stop the loophole of people who need to or feel they need to discard their horse they cannot use anymore, and they will be direct shipped or dropped off at a perhaps local livestock auction house where that animal is bid based on its weight. And then you have what we call kill buyers, who will then pack up as many horses as they can get into a trailer, and then they are driven across to Mexico or Canada. At that point, they are on the road to slaughter, and many times they're found on the plate of a Japanese meal somewhere.
Still about money.
Yeah, it is. It is. And not only is this reckless for our horses, but let's also think about the human component, where we do have horses that are medicated. They are receive worming and vaccines and all these things that are not meant to be entered into the human system. And it's not safe to be able to consume these animals. Aside from the way in which they get there, it's
Right.
a whole other issue. So with that in mind, Tina and I support racing. We love horse racing, and our job is not to shut down racetracks by any means. And there's a lot of groups that do feel that way. We want to bring about change to the thoroughbred racing industry. That's what we're about.
Change makers.
Change makers. It's
Absolutely.
really about it's really about bringing, embracing everyone together and creating a vision, and then following through with that vision of change. It's very disruptive to just come in and say, we don't want to see a track in existence, and we want these tracks shut down, because what are we going to do with all of those horses
Who are bred
that
to
are bred,
race.
and they're all tattooed, and nobody wants to adopt a thoroughbred? I mean, this is a breed that is not your average 6-year-old pet. So
And not a yard decoration.
it has to really be thought through in a very logistical manner. I mean, what is it that's best for the welfare of the horse? And then there has to be some form of arm-in-arm operation where we work together to try to re-educate the trainers or re-educate the owners into considering aftercare or thinking about the welfare of the horse and changing their perspectives of the life expectancy of that horse. Instead of discarding it at a direct ship in an auction lot in Kelowna, Iowa, or at the auction lot in Kansas, what can be done to help the welfare? Because it's not just about the horse, it's about the entire industry. And soon that entire industry will go away like the greyhounds.
Absolutely.
If we don't make significant changes to the sport.
And just to circle back on where you were asking about the 3 ways in which the horses come to us, Mucho Chrome.
There you go.
He's a perfect example of a horse that
Perfect.
he was slated to go through the ring at a kill auction.
Was he really?
Yeah, Tijuana, Mexico,
wow.
to slaughter.
True story. And if it wouldn't be,
He's a cool horse.
yeah, he is
He's a
amazing.
star.
He's a star, yes.
and he knows it.
That's sad.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
because and his only fault was, I mean, he was doing very well in California. He raced at Del Mar. He raced at Santa Anita.
Over 100 starts, you said.
Los Alamitos.
I know he had
about 30.
Yeah, he had,
he
but he
have
did.
to? Yeah.
Yeah, and he raced for a year and a half, 2 years, and he did win $66,000 on the track. His last race, we don't know exactly what happened, but we do know that the jockey said something's wrong, and basically pulled him up and said, there's something wrong. And so he came in 10th that day. He went from a first place horse to 10th place. And the next thing you know, he's for sale in a kill pen. He wasn't even offered up as
Auction.
right.
Yeah, the claim.
Yeah, nope. Never even went through a claiming race. Nope.
Wow.
They just wanted he was going to disappear.
Right, because the trainers and owners made the decision that it was too costly to repair him. And with the time off, it has to be an immediate return on the investment for some individuals, that middle class to lower class. They need an immediate return to afford the barn fees or to afford the track fees to race the horses. And if he's not turning that dime immediately, it's too expensive to repair.
And I'd like to give a shout out to the California Crohn's Legacy of Love group, who worked with us as a rescue to rescue,
Yes.
to be able to bring him to us. They found out his location, and
how old is he?
he's 10 years old now.
And he was
was
gone
six.
to a kill pen.
Yeah.
He was 6 when
Wow.
we, yes, he was
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
So these horses, the money, because that's what people seem to relate to. How much? You said he made 60-some thousand
Yes.
in his lifetime on the track. How much did I am also make?
About 375,000,
Okay, and then the other horse there,
$1 million.
yeah, and still sent to a kill, sent away.
Away.
Right.
And I think that's for me, our society. We're so use it and throw away, and it's going into this industry.
Right.
And
Whether it's dogs or cats or any animal, really, it's such an immediate gratification of comfort, love. If the animal, let's say a dog, is able to be rewarded and properly trained, the time investment has gotten to be so quick. If they can't see that immediate training, which we all know dogs take years to train, but if they don't see an immediate behavioral change, the dog is discarded for being naughty.
Right. And the horse is, again, bred to raise, which is about the money. And when they don't produce, they are discarded. And just to make sure everybody understands that completely, it doesn't matter how old they are.
Correct.
Apparently, it doesn't even matter if they're winning.
Correct.
Well, not to mention the 2-year-old. So a thoroughbred horse will begin training at the age of 2. So in the training year, let's say that horse pulls up with Sweeney's shoulder and isn't able to make it to the track. So in terms of how many horses there are that are bred annually, the Jockey Club is the database for all thoroughbreds. And the thoroughbred breed, there's approximately now, 23,000 that are foaled every year. And once that foal is tattooed, that means that horse is able to be bred and or raced at the tracks. So those horses go into training at the age of 2. And if that horse isn't able to make it to the track, which less than 5% make it to the track. So out of each annual year, 23,000 are foaled. 5% make it to the track. Now, think about all
So
of
that's
the remaining.
1,000 horses approximately get to the track out of 23,000.
Correct.
And those, and I don't want to be, make it sound like if you don't make it to the track, you're no good. That is not the
That's not
case.
it.
Many times these horses find other careers if they were not able to make it on the track, or their time, they were just too slow. They do find other opportunities. They make great hunter jumpers,
Okay.
Eventers, and dressage horses. They do find other opportunities to perform and to reach their athleticism. It's just their mindset. And having that person who is willing to take the time and the money into that animal to bring about the most athletic being that it can be. That's really what horsemanship is about. It's horse and human and the ship. Togetherness. And so these horses, we don't want to make it sound like,
Right.
We only have 1,000 every, ever make it or
That's
whatever.
what makes it to
Yeah.
the races. But if you
Yeah.
look at the Olympics, let's look at
Absolutely.
the Olympics and look at everyone who competes in dressage at the Olympics. Those horses are 17, 18, and 19 years old that have been competing for 10 years, but it has taken them 6 years, 7 years, 8 years to be able to even be eligible to compete at that level. So
Right.
there's such a different industry knowledge. The racehorses are trained so quickly. It's 1 year. They have 1 year of training and then they're out competing. So then when they get into dressage or hunter jumping, it could be 5, 6, 7, 8 years before they even see a field or start to compete.
Absolutely. And along that line, too, the reason why the OTTB, which is your off-the-track thoroughbred, makes a great starting horse as an eventer or second career is because they've already had the experience of being under saddle. Well, we say in the industry, that horse is racetrack trained. That does not mean he's necessarily trained for eventing. But we hope that those horses will get a second career. And at the end of their second career, which we have several horses, Tina, under our care, that they did race, they earned their keep on the track, then they went on to second careers, and then something maybe happened there. We have several that have had suspensory ligaments and other injuries from jumping and training. I mean, it's tough work. Yeah, absolutely.
Or burning rubble.
Yeah,
and
all of them.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, back to, let's go full circle as to what we do. Full circle is we are a sanctuary that brings in the off-the-track thoroughbreds that are injured, at risk of going to slaughter, ending their second competitive careers, or out of production as a broodmare. So we are truly one of the only facilities, and we go back and forth with a friend of mine in Michigan. We are one of the only facilities in the Midwest, and very, very, I'd say amongst the entire United States, maybe 6, 7, or 8 that do not adopt out, that bring in specifically the injured or at risk, or specifically the ones that cannot go into an adopting situation.
Absolutely.
Okay. And this is the things that we needed to know, and to know about you that makes you different. Just so you know, Tammy D said hi. We've got about 5 minutes to
treasurer.
Yes.
Hi, Tammy. To get in, and I'm sure she's at home applauding to get in volunteer opportunities, education and touring, and then the fundraising. So we've got about 10 minutes to cover
How does it
those
go by
three
so
things.
fast, Cheryl?
It's crazy.
It's gonna be crazy. We can stay all day because we haven't even gotten into the fun stuff yet, right?
But just so people understand the foundation of it, they see them on the track, the Kentucky Derby's coming up, all these, the Preakness, and you see the celebrations. And yes, the owners love their horses.
Yes, they do.
And that's why when that horse leaves, it goes into a little bit of shock, because it's been a place where it's been treated like a king,
like royalty.
and then it's in a kill pen. And that's what makes me sad, because I'm a Black Beauty fan from way back.
Same with me, Cheryl.
And I know that horse
Black Beauty. Oh my gosh.
That horse knows what's going on.
Yes, the ruffian. I mean, I am a
Bleeding heart ruffian fan off the track from the 70s. I mean, there is no other thoroughbred in my world than ruffian. So yes.
And we have a lot of, we do have a lot of volunteer opportunities.
Yes.
We, in particular, we love to have people come out and teach them the right way how to groom a horse, because we have a lot of furry horses right now that are losing their winter coat, and they love.
Great opportunity to be hands-on and help groom 18 horses in Geneseo right now.
Yes.
Do you have an age limit or start for your volunteers?
I would say as long as they're accompanied by an adult. I personally enjoy having the little ones out, because I can teach them how to bathe and teach them how to
bathe the horse, not themselves, right?
Yeah,
Well, usually it goes both ways. Yeah.
Okay, so little ones come dressed to get wet.
Absolutely.
You're not going to leave not stinking.
Correct.
Wear your not tennis shoes necessarily.
Boots.
Definitely not sandals.
Closed-toed shoes.
Closed-toed
all that good stuff.
to protect the toes.
Okay, so you've got college kids coming out volunteering right
Yes,
now.
we're very blessed to have the Cornell College football team boys coming out. And,
Fantastic.
Okay,
they've been
local
a godsend.
girls, did you hear that? Say that one more time, Angie. Who's coming out right now?
They are the Cornell College, which is located in Mount Vernon, Iowa, the football boys.
And I got to tell you, these guys are just stellar with
Brett,
professionalism.
where's your yay?
Yeah, we didn't get the yay on that one, did we?
Thank you, Brett. We even said it twice. the women are like, ooh, college boys.
Exactly. No, but they have
I'm
been
too
great
old.
coming
I
out.
can barely look at this point.
Oh, dear. Yeah,
I
I know.
still might look.
Yeah, please.
But yeah, that's a great opportunity for a hands-on to come out and do those, help take care of those animals.
Yes.
And along those lines,
We have fundraisers.
and
Many
that is
fundraisers. That's one of the main things that we
Absolutely.
need
Okay,
to.
well, and feeding a horse is not cheap. I
happen
happen to know that. And the price of hay is going up.
Oh, it's huge.
I happen to know that. COVID was hard. How hard was COVID on fundraising people?
I have to
killed
tell you,
us
it was
almost, I
yeah,
tell
it
you.
absolutely, like, we decreased our budget by what, 40%? I mean, we just easily 40%. So our revenue stream, which was going up, CPA was so excited, hands in the air, all of a sudden plateaued down.
Kind of bottomed out.
Yeah, we bottomed out.
Can somebody who has hay donate it directly to you and get a write-off that way?
Absolutely.
Absolutely,
Write-off?
hay fundraisers are wonderful. We enjoy hay fundraisers, and we promote and we love to give shout outs.
And another opportunity, I do also work at Tractor Supply Company. You're more than welcome to send us a gift card in the mail.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah.
And
Gift
you
cards.
will-
Lane's
yes.
Farm and Fleet in Geneseo.
Well, that's the other thing I like too, is that people can now order online and
Yes.
ship directly to you.
So the farm in Geneseo is,
Lane's Farm and Fleet.
but it's the ranch. Howlett Ranch would be the
Howlett
address.
Hill.
Howlett Hill.
Okay, so they could order and have you pick it up at Blame's Farm and Fleet in Geneseo. They could direct ship to Howlett Hill Farm to
Yes.
the Win Legends care of.
What is on your wish list?
Always grain. Grain is our number one thing that we're always after.
Okay,
In the summertime, fly spray.
yeah, big
Fly
deal.
masks,
And vax.
fly
You do
spray,
the mesh
fly
masks.
and fly
Okay.
spray and grain.
Okay.
Now, you currently have a formal fundraiser in process, is that right?
Yes, currently we are fundraising for Oakley, who is our 20 mid-something equine. We don't know his name. He came from the Oklahoma kill lot. We don't have an identity for him. We don't know if he's raced. We do know he's a thoroughbred because his tattoo is in place, but it's illegible. So he is a fundraising horse that we are currently looking for sponsorships
There we go.
monthly.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
it's more like, so
He's
you
a
have-
special needs.
Okay,
and
you do offer like sponsorships. So someone could sponsor a specific racehorse.
You betcha.
So how can they find out more about the volunteer opportunities? And one thing I learned too, I know Bret's waving us for our time to finish. There was tours and educational opportunities out there for schools too, is that right?
Yeah, and the best way I feel is if people can really touch the horses face to face, if they meet them, touch them, and experience, that's the best way to share a story. So we encourage any schools or any businesses or individuals to come out and meet the horses face to face.
And I promise you, every single horse has a story.
And they will fall in love with you.
And when I was out there, that's what I said. I wish I could do like a scratch and sniff live because the smell is you can't get that out there
I know
for
that
people.
was so great
and
when
there's
you said that, Cheryl.
There's just something about being at a farm and you go in the grocery store and everybody knows you've been at the farm, but it's okay because it's an honest way to be, an honest living.
We do have to finish up. Is there anything I didn't cover? Anything?
We know that Unbridled Spirits is on Facebook.
Yes.
Where else? How else can they reach you?
Website is unbridledspiritsOTTB.org. We also have a Twitter account, which is Unbridled Ones. We have our Insta, of course.
And of course, Facebook.
And Facebook is one of our strongest platforms. We have a TikTok, but really Facebook is the best way. Leave a message with a chat and or, Twitter. Any type of direct messages are the best.
Okay. And the volunteer opportunities, is that
Yes.
during the week or just weekends? Is it open anytime?
All the
All the
time.
time.
All
Just
the
give us a
time.
call.
All right.
We are by appointment only, so
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So that is important that they know you know beforehand that
Right.
people are coming out.
Yes.
All right. Please don't show up unannounced.
No.
All right.
Liability.
That's such a naughty word that isn't four letters, but I get it. All right. On that liability note, we're going to finish up. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day
Thank you
for
for
coming
having
here,
us.
This is
for,
great.
for carrying those horses, because somebody has to do it.
It means so much.
And really, people say, why doesn't somebody do something? You're the somebody.
We are the something,
Thank
and
you.
we're
Change
doing
makers.
something. Yep.
Yes, and one person can make a difference.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you for being the one people, and together the power union making more than one. I want to thank Done Right TV, who has provided this podcast space for us. Pretty cool stuff, isn't it? So if you have needs for security cameras, needs for internet, things like that, we could hit up Done Right TV here. And again, you all have a great Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. See you next week, same time, same place. Peace and love. Thanks, Bret.
You betcha.